My dad, whoa, yeah, my dad was that guy. Was a successful, hardworking man who managed to own a few businesses with no high school diploma and no professional education or training. I have many great memories of my dad. One time he took me to a car dealership and told me to pick out any car I wanted. Any car, just pick it, right? I think I picked the smallest vehicle in the lot, and that was my 5-year-old self's dream car. One of my most fresh memories, I remember playing Nintendo on a very fat screen, shooting at the little flying ducks with my beloved father. He also bought me a cowboy toy because he wanted me to be the sheriff in town. What a joy, man, what a joy. See, between the ages of 5 and 6, I remember my dad coming home, barely able to walk, running into walls, and hurrying to his room so he could get his hands on a gun to try to kill my mother. I was still so little that I didn't make much of it. Maybe he just had a bad date or something. I didn't know. See, I remember my mother carrying me out of the house, crying, as we ran to the neighbor's house, hoping, praying that they would let us in because we were seeking shelter because of his evil intentions. It wasn't long before we learned that he had terminal cancer. See, a few months later, I happened to witness my dad died at home. See, going to my dad's funeral, I would hear people talking about him and making references to my dad being an alcoholic. It was true. My dad was an alcoholic, and I still didn't really know what that meant at the time. See, after he died, we lost the businesses and discovered that he had a severe gambling problem. See, within days of his passing, we had sharks knocking at our door, threatening to kill us and our family if we didn't pay my father's debts. See, everything was gone. We lost it all. My mom did the best she could. She did the best she could to provide for me. She had to work and make money. I spent a lot of time with family and babysitters taking care of me. And it wasn't until I was 9 that things got a little better. My mom met someone, and she was happy. We got to spend time with him and his kids, and it felt like we were a family at times. It truly did. And my happiness at age of 9 was short-lived. By the age of 10, I had witnessed cold-blooded crimes, my mother and I being robbed, guns pointed at us, violence, among many, many other things. See, what I didn't know then was that my mom's boyfriend was also an alcoholic, a gambler, and involved with drug lords. I'll never forget the night he got murdered and how much pain my mom went through. See, the shocking experience was traumatizing, to say the least. I can only say today that by the grace of God, we were not with him that night, because it's safe to say we all know how this story would end if we were. Picture this. Manny's first drunk. Age, 11 years old. Alcohol available, wine. See, my mom and I went to eat with her friend one night, and I think it was a date. I think it was a date. So imagine how my mom felt bringing her son on a date along with her. I think it would have been a little uncomfortable. But I found myself at the table alone and curious. I was curious about the burgundy-colored grape juice. And then it was in these beautiful, shiny glasses. No one was looking, so I decided to try some. I drank the glasses on the table, and one of the bottles started kind of like emoji winking at me. So I had to drink half of that. The next thing I know, that I wake up in my mom's car, the back seat. Apparently, I said some no very nice things to the guy. I think I didn't really like him much. But the effect of how that made me feel, the wine, man, it made me feel good and courageous. Whew. So by 13, I wanted to be the coolest kid around. So I adopted unhealthy behaviors. Why? Well, my life was dysfunctional. I felt invisible, and I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be seen and recognized. I didn't have a father, or a father figure for that matter. I was hurt, insecure, confused about many things, and I did not have a solution. I didn't have one. And in my defense, I didn't know any better. See, I had a do it to prove it mentality. I was a teenager who wanted to be tough, popular, and strong. See, I wanted to protect my mother and be a leader with power and money. See, this belief system, led me to follow the footsteps of my dad. I thought if he was successful being an alcoholic, own 2 businesses, and make good money, so can I. Even knowing what my dad went through as an alcoholic, an addict to gambling, he was my inspiration. And there are things that I do admire from him. God's mercy has been around the entire time. His protection, His love, and compassion have been surrounding us. I just didn't think of God or had any spirituality at all. If you haven't noticed by now, my mom was not around much. Thankfully, I had my grandma, aunt, and cousin to take care of me and be around. See, I felt empty. And full of insecurities, doubts, lack of confidence, and low self-esteem. I was bullied a lot in school because I had a big head, small body. They called me Homer Simpson. And violence and acting out became my tools for dealing with these things. See, my willingness to do anything to become cool and accepted led me to a dark path. I am now 15 years old, and I have tried ecstasy, ketamine, weed on top of alcohol and everything else. Man, I was good. I felt great. So I thought. Although I used to go to church after partying for days straight, I do not recall believing in Jesus. However, I remember believing in something. Something. Coming to the United States was a cultural shock, literally. I landed at JFK on December 4th, 2004, and proceeded to Jackson Heights, Queens. Great place to go. My ambition and arrogance to drink and get high came with me. And they intensified upon arriving. Now, I have no friends. I'm alone. And I am in a country that I do not understand. That's right. My English wasn't very good looking. Definitely not what I saw in the movies. Not at all. You fast forward to 2019. My wife and I, we have been going to church for a little over a month now. And I decided to get involved in this volunteering thing on the weekends. But how was I going to serve? I had no idea. An alcoholic who helped a congregation. See, if I was the one who needed the help, I went through a 4-week class to become the volunteer. But wait for it. Here comes my surrender. March 10th, 2019. I just graduated the volunteering program, and I'm heading into Fort Myers to check on my stepfather, who was admitted to Gulf Coast after having a foot amputation due to complications with diabetes. See, drawing me in is the sign in front of the Walgreens saying, liquor. Liquor. I didn't hesitate. I stopped and didn't think twice about it. So I bought me 4 bottles of booze. Next thing I know, I was loaded. Page 43 in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous says, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink, except in a few rare cases. Neither he or any other human being can provide such defense. His defense must come from a higher power. See, I was supposed to be at the hospital already to help my stepfather shave his face. I managed to get in the car and head over, and as I was driving, my mind was already wandering to tomorrow and how much I was going to regret making that decision to stop at the liquor store, and the disappointment my loved ones will have for me. I knew. Next thing, I get a phone call from the church congratulating me for the graduation. Hey, congratulations. Where would you like to serve? And I was in no shape to have this conversation. But something inside of me made me stay on the phone. Made me stay on the phone and ask for help. I told the lady on the other end of the line that I wasn't ready to volunteer, but that I needed help with addiction. And I wanted to know if the church could offer this type of assistance. I was admitting complete defeat. I just didn't know it yet. I didn't know anything about recovery or what the process would look like. But I was hopeless. I was hopeless. And she was there. She was there. Shortly after we hung up the phone, I got a text message inviting me to CR. That text came from a person who reached out with love, hope, and empathy. See, this person led me to salvation. And there are no words or ways to describe the divine gratitude I have felt ever since. See, this is when I realized that I had hit bottom. And I hit it fast and furious. And I'm not talking about the movie. See, with everything I went through up to this point, I couldn't help but think of 2 Corinthians 4:8-9. And he reads that we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. See, although I was involved in a lot of situations surrounded by police, death, bad company, and other wicked things, my bottom was not because of any of these or because I was being forced. See, something inside of me, bigger and greater than me, something that I can truly describe as supernatural, was telling me and making me realize that I didn't have to keep doing what I was doing. That I had a great future and a new hope. And it was up to me to make that decision. See, sometimes we may not know what the right thing is. But we certainly know what the wrong thing is and what it looks like. See, at that moment, I started thinking about the shepherd who left the 99 to pursue the one. And I was the one. God gave me life and life more abundantly. And today I am building on a new foundation. See, before finding recovery, I had reached such a low point in my life that I even considered suicide. See, that's a bottom you cannot deny. That's a bottom you cannot deny. See, the pain, the hopelessness, they were overwhelming. But God had other plans. When I first walked in on Monday night, March 11, 2019, to the CR church, see, I felt hope. For some reason, I felt hope. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. See, immediately I could identify with most of the men. And I met my first sponsor. The funny thing was, he didn't want to be my sponsor because at the time, he was told by his sponsor that he had too many commitments. So I guess that I looked like a commitment when I came in. Before I started working with my sponsor, see, I wanted to work Manny's program, which consisted of 2 steps, right? It's 12 steps, 1 and 2, so I thought. So after my very first meeting, I ran to make amends. Ouch, what a mistake. Whew. I ended up full of pain and disappointment. I'm not sure, and I'm sure you've heard of this before, but the steps are in order 1 through 12 for a reason. So I strongly suggest you get a sponsor as soon as possible and start working the steps if you're a newcomer, which will free you from the bondage of self. See, my sponsor helped me in many different ways. He helped me change my belief system. by giving me strong, humble suggestions. My favorite advice he gave me, or suggestion, is when he told me, make the phone lighter than the next one. Meaning, call me before you pick up a drug, a drink, or when you have your next great idea, which I made that a point and a fact. See, early on my recovery, it was not easy. I had to change one thing, I was told, and that thing was everything. People, relationships, places, things. I started experiencing feelings that I never felt before. I was facing situations that I needed to know how to manage sober. My emotions were all out of whack. I also went through many disappointments. But the one thing I had was the love and grace of Jesus Christ, a powerhouse support team I sponsor, and the 12 steps. See, I was voluntold into many commitments. I have been a greeter, a barista, or a strong coffee maker, I should say, and a hope dealer, taking meetings into different places, dealing hope. See, the people God put in my life, who I now consider my brothers, changed my life and led me closer to Jesus. See, I used to be lured and tempted through the promise of fun, satisfaction, and peace. But now I know all three can be found in the Word of God. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. 2 Corinthians 10:5. Take every thought captive. Wow, what a great idea. But is it even possible? See, if I trust God's word, I would know it was possible. In my recovery, I am transformed by the renewing of my mind, learning how to cope with life on life's terms, not Manny's. When I became familiar with the authenticity of the Word of God and the love He has for me, I started recognizing the imposter immediately. The 12 steps have allowed me to find the healing I needed to break from addiction and became a better man. Finding freedom from the bondage of self. See, awakening my emotions. I can laugh and find joy working the steps. Especially step 10. Some people sometimes look at me like I'm bipolar. See, and I allow others to come into my life. See, I found forgiveness, and today I can intuitively handle situations that used to baffle me. The 12 steps outline a path to spiritual progress, right? Through a series of actions designed to elicit what the big book refers to as a psychic change. See, a complete mental and emotional and a spiritual shift in perception. See, the 12 steps are a critical element of a long-term recovery program. I'll share this, something that happened as I was faithfully working the steps. You've heard how my mom and I really didn't have a relationship. We didn't really have affection. It was more of a distant relationship than anything. Matter of fact, I do not remember us showing affection at all. I remember doing the step 9, and after I make amends to my mother, she said to me, "Come back here, just give me a hug." See, working with other men, watching the lost find Christ, live an enriched life, smiles and laughter. Staying sober is my response to God's grace and the undeserved mercy He gave me. See, right since then, I have adopted a new outlook, and this is now how I treat my recovery. And now I deal with situations that may seem routine or repetitive. Today I can serve others. I get to. And what I choose determines my reality. However, I can change it by shifting my focus. Philippians 4:8 says, "Whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." That hope He gave me enough to fire and ignite my faith and brought me to Jesus. That's what I'm here. That hope allowed me to transform myself by applying the 12 steps in my life. That transformation only happens by the applications of the 12 steps. And I close with this. Sometimes the steps can be uncomfortable, but some of the things you're going through right now are taking you to the places where you ask God to take you, but you just don't like how you're getting there. Be a hope dealer, surround yourself with the winners, and remember, this is a process. Doesn't happen overnight.